Okay, even if you're not a fan of football, you have likely heard the name Antonio Brown, and you've likely seen the video of his tantrum as he stormed off the field last night in Jersey, half naked, mid-game. The announcers were quick to pass judgment on the wide receiver, calling him a spoiled quitter as such. After all, Antonio's got a long history of, shall we say, histrionics, on and off the field. But other people have come to his defense, including his former teammate and quarterback, Tom Brady. Brady called for compassion, suggesting that Brown may be in the midst of a mental health crisis and may be in need of help. I am joined now by Dr. Matthew Sacco, a health and sports performance psychologist at the Cleveland Clinic. Thank you so much for being with me. I was so interested in watching this and then the fallout. Terry Bradshaw said the following: they need to put him in a straitjacket and take him to some hospital. Lots of people laughed. People were angry. But then came the other movement, and that is that we may be seeing a mental health issue. And this isn't weird. I mean, Simone Biles had a mental health issue that she was very open about. We also saw Naomi Osaka had a mental health issue. Are people in sports starting to get it, that maybe it's not just bad behavior, maybe it is something more?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think that as these events, as we see them start to happen more often in the public eye, I think we're all starting to get a greater understanding that perhaps some of the pressure, some of the being in the public eye like that is certainly, making some of the stuff more common, and people starting to look more closely at it because it's hard. A lot of it doesn't make sense. And so when it doesn't make sense, we start to look for ways to make these explanations work for us. And I think that's the case.
Well, listen, lots of football players have behaved very badly, so it's easy to jump, to a conclusion. But I will tell you this, once I saw Tom Brady's postgame, I had a very different sort of epiphany. Let me just play a little bit of that moment. Take a look.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously a difficult situation. And, I think we all want, him to just think everybody should find, hopefully do what they can to help him in ways that he really needs it. I think everyone should be very compassionate and empathetic toward, some very difficult things that are happening.
So, Dr. Sacco, I thought what was interesting is the story emerged that the coaches had told him to re-enter the game. He refused, said that he had an ankle injury, but then this. I mean, if you look at that video, that doesn't look like someone who's having an issue with his ankle. He's, running and jumping and seems quite jubilant. So there may be very much something to what Tom Brady had said.
Yeah, I think that it's hard to come to any other conclusion than that there is something else going on here other than what we may think more purely as this kind of like tantrum behavior, because most people, people don't act this way without other things going on. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So, and then to hear from the people that are with him more regularly, like someone like Tom Brady, clearly kind of reading between the lines with what he's saying. Obviously, there's more going on here. And from my standpoint, I think that there's nothing wrong at that point in terms of asking for some compassion and kind of hopefully somebody offering the help and trying to help him get what he needs out of this, because it's clearly something's going on.
So let me ask you one quick question. A lot of people look at a 2016 game that he was hit, helmet-to-helmet hit with a player named Vontaze Burfict. And a Pittsburgh radio host said this after that hit. He started to be someone who was afraid. Everyone was out to get him. He never smiled after that all that much. He became somebody different. He used to be innocently narcissistic, much like a lot of receivers in the NFL, but he didn't have this dark side to him. And for me, every single incident, it all happened after the Burfict hit. I just want to get sort of 30 seconds from you on what you think about that.
I think that when we look in hindsight for explanations for kind of these behaviors, and maybe as the case that was described there, the reason why some of this stuff that seemed so innocent before now describes have that dark side, I think hindsight just gives us that bias where you kind of say, well, that must be it. There's also kind of a natural progression where we look at his early years and some of the behaviors, and over time he became more well-known, more famous, kind of more in the spotlight. And I think the turning up of the intensity is equally as likely to explain some of those behaviors getting worse as would be saying I mean, not to suggest that a hit to the head isn't a big deal, but to point to that being what turned it.
Right.
I think that there are a lot of factors that are probably coming into play there.
Dr. Sacco, thanks. I do appreciate it.
Absolutely, anytime.
Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.